the other role too that people have talked so much about is when you took on that role, Mike Corbin on General Hospital, and what an extraordinary role, an extraordinary performance. It was riveting. It was touching. It was emotional, and a lot of people connecting with it as well on such a deep, deep level. And as a matter of fact, too, in 2019 and 2021, you won the Daytime Emmy Award for Best Supporting Actor for that role on General Hospital. How did this role come your way? And when they were presenting it to you, the idea of it, um, what was your thought? What was the process? How did you take on this incredible character? Because again, you were spectacular, and you now are delving into the soap opera world, the daytime fans, and they are, as much as nostalgic TV fans are really rabid, daytime fans are super fans, and they
Yes, they
really
are.
love the shows. They've been watching them for decades. They know
Yeah.
all the lines and the sets and who's dating who. What was it like when you were offered the opportunity to step on to the world of General Hospital and into that role, which you were brilliant in?
Yeah. Well, let me just say for the many out there who don't watch General Hospital, it was an Alzheimer's arc. They decided there had been a guy who had played the father of the lead guy of General Hospital, who's like they described him a good looking Tony Soprano. He's a mafia guy, but Maurice has been doing the show for many, many years.
Mm,
And he's like the lead guy, even though it's General Hospital and it's set anyway.
yeah.
Um, so I got a call from my agent, and it was presented like they really, wanted me to come in. And when I got there, there were 5 or 6 other actors, all of whom I knew. We all recognized each other. We knew that any one of us could do it. But I had the advantage. I'd done a play the year before called The Prodigal Father. Uh, the play was written by, and it was about a gay playwright and set in Chicago who had grown up in Tennessee. And he was a athletic guy. His dad was a real churchgoer, but he was really most at church out in the woods. And this guy had never been able to like shoot a raccoon. So he'd never really quite connected with his dad. So he makes his way to being a playwright, and he's in Chicago. And on the eve of his first big production of one of his plays, his dad shows up at his loft. And it turns out the dad has a dementia, and he's had enough experiences of kind of coming back into focus and realizing that he's scared the bejesus out of somebody. And he's come to ask his son to take him out before he hurts anybody. So that was the play. So it gave me, in a play, you really get to work on things, So it gave me a lot of chance to explore that that realm.
Yeah,
Which,
absolutely.
I don't know if you've ever had your time where you're driving along and all of a sudden you forget where you are and where you're going.
Isn't that amazing? You go over a
You know,
bridge and you're like, I don't remember going over the bridge or the exits or anything. And
yeah,
how did I get
yeah.
here? Right.
So it happens to us.
Yeah.
And my dad used to tell the joke, I'm spending a lot of time in the hereafter. I find myself standing in a room wondering, what am I here after? So, so anyway, I had some of that when I went to the audition. I'd been called back a few times on a couple of comedy pilots. So I got that they really wanted me to do it, but they were characters who, in a way, they showed their vulnerability by bravado. And some guys are really good at playing that, but I never got it. I just somehow never could find the funny in being a loudmouth.
Right.
And which is kind of way the Kaczynski character that became Wojo was more of a loudmouth. But
Right.
I think it became
You gave him
something
more
different.
heart and more
And
humanity. Yeah, more
and
heart and humanity.
but so I hear, and I had an appetite to work, and the carrot and the stick were both working on me, and so I went to the reading, but kind of like, as it come to this, I'm doing a soap opera. But I actually had a great experience right from the get-go with Maurice. I read with Maurice in the room of the producers and all that, and we connected right away. We were just alive together. And the first day was kind of challenging because you got a lot of dialogue and it moves pretty fast, but it went well. And they were, the writing was good. All the other people were really supportive. All people who have been doing that work. It's not everybody's cup of tea as a kind of storytelling, but it certainly is a challenge. And a lot of great actors have done soaps as their training ground. And so, when I did get the Emmys, I said it was best supporting actor, but I said I'm accepting this as the best supported actor. And I had a great time with them and the crew. And the Alzheimer's story touches so many people, even on the crew. The young sound guy says, this is making me think of my grandfather. He lived with us for his last 3 years, and
Right.
just different people, and to help me, trust that I was on the right track, and the writing was, what I'd come to learn about the disease, and so it was a great experience, and I'm really thankful for it.
Very important role too, and a lot of people connected with it, and it's resonated with a lot of people, regardless of what the health situation is. And you were brilliant in it, Max. I'm sure you've had a lot of feedback from people too, not just peers in the industry with the Emmy and things of that nature, but also the public, the fans who have seen you in all these roles over the years, and now they've seen you on a legendary daytime drama like General Hospital, which has been around all these years, and you're taking on such a pivotal and important and deep role and really, really mastering it. Um, I imagine you've heard from people who have said that role really, and your performance and that character um, touched them in profound ways.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, I've gotten a lot of feedback that way, and I think that it's, it means a lot when you do theater, why you're getting that right away. Somebody's crying in the audience or laughing, or, So, although there would be feedback on the set, when we'd finish the scene, the people would come down from the director's booth, or the people, again, there was it was a very supportive environment, I found on General Hospital. And so, yes, that's a good feeling.
Was there a particular storyline in that character that affected you the most?
Well, it just kept growing. There was a period there that where and I didn't understand it, but I went to Frank, the showrunner, as they call him, and I said, "Where is this going?" Because they were coming up with kind of storylines that I thought were a little bit fishy. He said, "What's happening is that we didn't expect such a response. Originally, they said you'll be on for 3 months. We didn't expect such a response to the storyline, so we having to keep your character alive, but we have all these other storylines we have to fulfill. So we're just sort of grabbing at straws to come up with something that keeps you alive in the show, until we can then work you in more meaningfully into where the whole thing is going." So the middle year, I didn't submit, because you have to, in that world, if people can push or do the work of stuff, but you have to submit, say, yes, I'm submitting myself for an Emmy. And the first year I did, I got persuaded to do it. The ones in Barney Miller, I wasn't really, in those days, I was so much into my activism that when the Emmy, I didn't, there's something sort of weird, acting is so collaborative. Theater, storytelling, it's collaborative. So the idea of singling out people it kind of runs against that grain,
Right.
even though it's understandable why it happens. And I have to say, I never turned down a nomination. But the middle year of the what was almost 3 years on General Hospital, I didn't submit. But the first and the third I did.
Yeah.
And it felt good. It's cooler to win it than to
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.